Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home. Today I got a super exciting 4K review to do for one of my favorite movies that has also influenced a bunch of other filmmakers that are of my generation, and that is The Wicker Man with this brand new 4K Steelbook from Lionsgate with the 4K remaster of the final cut. So we're going to dive into the movie itself, talk a little bit about that. We'll get into the visual quality, we'll talk audio, packaging, special features, and whether or not this one's worth picking up for your collection. So to kick things off with the movie itself, I had actually never seen the final cut. I had only ever seen the theatrical cut. The final cut, I believe, adds like 7 minutes of footage. A lot of it's sort of in the first half of the movie, but it does add just a little bit more to the story to give a more complete package. And the movie is notorious for really not having a great negative out there. It was cut up and tossed away by its original distributor, which is why there's a theatrical cut, a director's cut, and now what they're calling the definitive version, the final cut, which was released originally in 2013. So even though this movie's 50 years old, there are lots of people who are just rediscovering it and watching new versions for the very first time, at least within the last decade. Now, I thought the movie was excellent. It does open up with a really weird message about, some of the things being offensive. And remember, this is of the time. And I didn't really get that because the movie's really strange anyway. So like none of it's really offensive. It's meant to be strange and weird. I didn't find anything offensive in it. But Christopher Lee is awesome in this. Edward Woodward gives like a super campy, over the top, hyper religious performance. Britt Ekland is awesome. There's a ton of great, looks like probably locals from like Scotland or something when they were filming. So an excellent movie, definitely inspired things like Midsommar. Of course, there's a remake with Nick Cage, but it's a heavy influence on lots of filmmakers. And I'm really happy I was able to check out the final cut in 4K because it was a pretty glorious experience. So even though this is released by Lionsgate in the US, the 4K restoration and the 2K restoration, they were all done by Studiocanal. So Studiocanal is the worldwide rights holder, and they're licensing it out to Lionsgate to release in the US. Now Studiocanal also has their own release, which was released in the UK. We'll talk about that one in a bit, but first the picture quality. With the final cut, they give you some notes before you even start watching the film again on the restoration. And the fact of the matter is that about 95% of the movie looks gorgeous, and they've been able to restore it from very good elements. It's crisp, clear, for 1973 looks fantastic. But you will notice, especially in that first half of the movie, that there are several scenes that look like DVD quality, maybe a poor Blu-ray restoration quality, and that's because of the source material. And they tell you that right off the bat, and honestly, it's not like it's super distracting. It's amazing that these elements even exist and they can put them together into one complete final cut. But again, 95% of this film looks gorgeous. The HDR is gorgeous. It's an incredible, really faithful restoration. High on film grain. That's what it is. It's a 50-year-old movie. It's going to have film grain. It was shot on film, but it's super detailed. It looks, I put it right up there with Jaws, which is my reference point for early to mid 70s movies. It's right up there for that 95% of the time that it's high quality, and it's a great restoration from high quality elements. Just a beautiful picture and really looked fantastic. I'd watched this one on Blu-ray a few times. I had seen the 2K restoration, but this was fantastic. This took it to the next level, and this is really the way the film should be viewed at this point. I'm not sure it can get much better. Now for the audio, being such an old movie, this has a mono track. So it's a lossless mono track, but it's very front heavy. Now the movie actually has some great music, great musical moments. It has a great score. It's very dialogue driven, as you can imagine. There's not a ton of action. It's very much driven by interactions between the policeman and the rest of the characters in the town. That's what it is. It's Christopher Lee, it's Edward Woodward, it's Britt Ekland, it's the townspeople. It's conversations happening, dialogue driven. So a mono track being center heavy, you're going to want a good center channel. But I think even if you had a decent sound bar for this one, you'd probably get a pretty good experience because a lot of it is very much right in front of your face. There isn't really a lot going around. It's a mono track. It's not using your surround speakers, so depending on what your receiver does, it may spread some of that noise artificially, but it's a pretty straightforward mono track. So really don't need like a heavy sound system for this. Just need one really good solid center speaker. Now the packaging on this is really gorgeous stuff, and Lionsgate has been doing a great job with Steelbooks lately, but It has their kind of trademark removable slipcover, which has some awesome artwork in and of itself, but then you get this incredible steelbook. So pop this open, great art all the way around, really high quality stuff. On the inside, you get more art. You get the Wicker Man. You get the 2 discs, the 4K and the Blu-ray. They both are just the final cut. Now, I mentioned that other Studiocanal release. That release has the 4K UHD of the final cut, theatrical, and director's cut, as well as 2 additional Blu-ray discs. So that release is way more expensive. It's much more comprehensive. If you want every single cut of the film and loads of features with special packaging, that could be the one to get, but you got to import it. It's pricey. The final cut, I think, and from what I've read, is the preferred version of the movie by most people. The director of the film called it the final cut because he was happy with it. He anointed it as the final cut back in 2013 when they did some initial restorations. It's his version of the movie. Now, it's not the theatrical, it's not the director's cut, but he has since kind of gone back on the director's cut and called the final cut his official final version. So I'm okay only having the one version. I love the movie, but I'm not like a super fan. If you are, there's that other option. But Lionsgate's done a great job, and they did not skimp on the special features either, because there are features on both the 4K and the Blu-ray. On the 4K, we get revisiting the locations. We get the Wicker Man at 50. We get a look at the script and the lost ending, an interview with Britt Eklund, behind the scenes gallery, an interview with Robin Hardy and Christopher Lee. We also get Worshipping the Wicker Man, the music of the Wicker Man, another interview with Robin Hardy, trailers, and a restoration comparison on the Blu-ray disc. So pretty comprehensive stuff all around. Really great package, amazing artwork. I love the way this looks. So overall, the packaging's nice. It does come with the digital code as well, and the 4K with some Blu-ray special features. It's a pretty nice package. If you want that top limited edition though, the Studiocanal one's probably the way to go, but good luck getting it at this point. So overall, I would say this is definitely worth upgrading. I actually used to have the imprint Wicker Man collection, which was a really cool set, but it wasn't in 4K. And when they announced that this was in 4K, I knew, given how colorful this movie could be at times, I knew the way that the majority of it was shot. It was very beautifully done, a lot of great cinematography. I knew I wanted to see this on 4K, and so, you know, I traded up to my Wicker Man 4K set here from Lionsgate on the Steelbook, and I was very happy with the upgrade in visual quality. I'm sure if you have the UK release, those are also great. It's all the same transfer. Lionsgate's just licensing it out here for the US. So no matter where you go, if you get the Wicker Man in 4K, it's going to be a great experience. And this is just a beautiful package with really great special features. It's an all-around really nice collector's piece. Although it is missing those cuts, I'm not too worried about it. I watched the final cut. That's my favorite version of the film now, and that's the one I'd stick with. So I'm really happy with this. So if you want to grab this, I'll put a link down in the description. You can pick this one up. It's available now. I'm a little late getting the review out, but as you know, I got to watch these things and film reviews. So you can pick that up using the link in my description. It helps support my channel. And of course, thank you to Lionsgate again for sending that out. Been super cool and supportive of the channel in several different ways lately. So I appreciate them and their support. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want more videos like this on physical media, movie collecting, 4K reviews, all that fun stuff, make sure you subscribe here to the channel. Also, make sure to follow me on social media. Instagram and TikTok both blew up lately. We're up over 110,000 followers on TikTok, over 164,000 on Instagram, and climbing. It's insane growth. So if you want to join in the fun over there, those links are down in the description, as well as right here in the QR code. So if you're watching on a TV, you can scan that with your phone. It'll bring you right to all my links. But appreciate you guys watching it. That's the best support you can always give, is coming out for the videos and enjoying them. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.